Alright everybody, straight from Bullshit Corner, welcome to today's video. And today's video is going to be a set of series of removing the transfer case, rebuilding it, reinstalling it. But this first video is going to be removing the transfer case, what's all involved and everything else. Let's quit fucking around, let's go underneath the Jeep and let's get things done. Always remember when you're rebuilding your transfer case or rear ends, anytime you gotta take a drive shaft off, always make sure your wheels are chalked. I always like chalk mine both sides, that way there's no possibility or hardly any possibility that the vehicle's gonna roll. So this skid plate on the Jeep is big and it's heavy, so I like to split it up. The first thing I like to do, I like to remove the two bolts for the tranny plate, I guess it is, because the transfer skid plate is here, and then remove your transfer case tranny mounting bolts right there, remove those, and then we can start disassembling everything else. So now I'm going to get a jack stand or something underneath there to kind of balance it, and then we're going to remove the 6 bolts and lower down that plate, which is heavier than hell. I already got this side loosened, and now I'm going to do the other side. I got balancing on my jack here, that way it'll help keep it stable because this thing is freaking heavy. Alright, the next step is to drain the transfer case oil if you wish. I know I am. That's in there fucking tight. And I'm just yanking the front drive shaft off, and it's held on by 4 bolts, 5/16. Remove them, and then you gotta pry the drive shaft off. I just got the drive shaft off and laying on a rag, and now we're ready to start disassembling the transfer case, but I'm gonna save that for another day. The first thing we gotta do is start removing all the accessories that are bolted on. I removed this linkage bar, it goes up to the top. I just used like a pry bar, pried it out here, then use a pry bar to pry it out there. We gotta remove the electrical connections. I see there's a line up top. Gotta pull that out. This piece here has to come out because there's bolts right underneath here. We gotta be able to access, so start ripping her down. You got this electrical connection right back here that attaches to here, and the only way you're gonna get that off is that you gotta pull this little red clip back. It's a little sliding clip. Once you pull it back, you're gonna be able to pull it out. Alright, our next step is to remove the transmission mounting plate. There's 4 bolts in there, and then there's a hanger that hangs on the exhaust. Hopefully we can get those out and slide it off the exhaust without too much trouble. So I got that bracket off. I put some blocks of wood underneath the transmission oil pan, jacked it up, because once you remove the bolts from that, the transmission, all that's going to drop. Same with the linkage over here, the shift linkage is going to drop a little bit. This takes all the weight off of it. I was able to pull that bracket off, and now we can start, I got all the wiring and shit off, all the vacuum, so now I can start pulling all those bolts off and see if we can get this thing out. This one here by the exhaust can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. I lowered it down on my jack stand to get down low enough, and then I'm able to crank it off that way. Fuck yeah. Well, I'm down to the last 2 bolts. I just got my motorcycle jack straddling it just so I can kind of hold it up so it doesn't decide to drop down. And the last 2 bolts, I say the last 2 bolts is one's underneath. And it looks like I got a seal leaking somewhere, either from the transfer case or the transmission. I'm not sure yet. So I just gently rock the transfer case. And it looks like we're out, so I'm just gonna lower it down just a little bit. And get this thing out of here. Even though I don't have a motorcycle anymore, this motorcycle jack comes in handy for these types of projects. It's a lifesaver at times. Now that the transfer case is out, just to go over as a quick reference, you got 2 up top, 2 in the bottom, 1 on the sides. That bolts the transfer case onto the unit. You got your shifter linkage that goes here. You got a sensor wire you got to undo here. You got a vacuum line that's going to go there. And also on your shifter bracket, There's going to be two. There's going to be one here, I believe it is, and one here where your shifter bracket's going to connect to. This one here is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. This one here is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. On this side, you just going to disconnect the electrical connection there, and then the wiring plugs in up top, and that's pretty much it as far as getting this out. You can see on the bottom of the transfer case just over time how the seal has been leaking. Not really a major leak, but enough that you can notice it. Alright, I'm going to end my video there on removing the transfer case from your Jeep TJ, YJ. They're pretty much all the fucking same anyways. Pretty simple. Take you 1 to 2 hours depending on your skill level and how corroded the nuts and that are on. But anyways, I'm going to leave the video at this. The next part of the video is going to be rebuilding the transfer case, stripping it down, installing new bearings, new seals, all that crap. Anyways, sorry no beer today, it's too early in the daytime. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.